We back at it.
Blah, blah, blah. So you're in a better place today, Mike. You're in your happy place.
I am in my happy place.
All right. We got to, my objective this coming year, the 2024 year on the show would be have you drink a little bit more prior to the show. And that's where I'm at this point. I'm starting to look forward to the future and look forward to the next year. And, that's kind of one of my,
I'm okay with that. I think Mike needs to drink more too.
I'd like to see you drink a little bit more in the morning.
You know,
Good morning.
Well, my mornings are my evenings.
That's true.
So,
good morning, everybody. Yeah, welcome back to the show. This is episode 460 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. 460. That's right. You heard it right. 460, guys.
That's a lot. That's a lot of episodes.
Very, 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 very. It's a great amount of episodes. No two ways about it. Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm in a better mood. I did not watch any football this weekend, so I'm ready to go.
I don't know if you're lucky or you're not. I
had a palate cleanse. I needed a palate cleanse.
The league is becoming so bizarre, and I don't even know where to start. We have a bunch to talk about. For starters, the Steelers can't give this playoff spot away, albeit they try hard to give it away. You can't lose to two win teams, give the spot up, not play, and get it back.
Yeah.
But that is what's going on for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers now sit in spot number 6, not even number 7, guys. They're sitting in the 6th seed in the AFC playoff picture at the moment. The playoff picture looks like this. Baltimore is in the number 1 seed until tonight. If Miami wins, they will leapfrog over Baltimore with the same record at 10-3. So we're going to see they have 2 Monday night games tonight. We're going to see if Miami wins this or not. That will determine the top 2 seeds. Number 3 is Kansas City with an 8-5 record, who oddly enough is just 1 game better than what the Steelers are at this point in the season. But we'll get back to that. Jacksonville's in number 4. Cleveland, and those are your division leaders. And Jacksonville, again, is only also like Kansas City, 1 game better than what the Steelers are playing. The Chiefs are the Browns are 8-5, sitting in the 5 seed. The Steelers are 7-6. They got gifted this playoff spot back again.
We will take it, baby.
Number 7, our next opponent, the Indianapolis Colts, are sitting at a 7-6 spot, followed by these teams. On the bubble, the Houston Texans are 7-6. The Denver Broncos are 7-6. The Cincinnati Bengals are 7-6. The Buffalo Bills are 7-6. You're right. And there we are. The Pittsburgh Steelers, as poorly as we've played this year, and as many times as we tried to give it away, here we are sitting in the number 6 seed. And it just makes you think, guys, this season is so weird and bizarre. And as I mentioned, the Chiefs are only 1 game better than we are. The Jaguars are only 1 game better than we are. Maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea if this team could sneak into the playoffs. Maybe, just maybe, something can happen. Because things are falling so bizarrely this season in the NFL, guys.
Yeah, the way things are going, literally this saying any given Sunday, it's never been more true this year. We're seeing, the upsets throughout this week. Chicago winning. Who saw that coming? No one did.
No one.
So a 3-0 win.
Yeah, backup quarterbacks playing well. Maybe with Mitch with a full week of practice will play better this week than he did last week.
I hope you're right.
And that's I'm hoping. I'm grasping at straws here because Zach Wilson, who saw him play the way he did this weekend? Yeah. No one saw that coming. So getting into the playoffs, man, that's all you need. Once you're in, you roll off a win or two. Next thing you know, you can be rolling.
And most people with common sense say the same thing. Do you really want this team in the playoffs? This team will get smashed in the playoffs. But this team is only 1 win behind the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
This team is, and don't get me wrong, I'm not blowing this team up. I'm not saying that they're great. I'm not saying they're going to do great things.
You mean. Yeah.
No.
I'm just saying, guys, if they, like I said, could stumble, but you know what? I'm getting less optimistic as time goes on, because as I mentioned again, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams with 7-6 records right behind us. And some of these teams are playing pretty good football, and they're moving in the right direction, where we're sitting at a 7-6 when we seem to be falling in the wrong direction. So that's kind of where I'm drawing my lines, and I'm seeing who's the contenders and who isn't. Buffalo has a nice team. They just they underperformed this year. Derpy says their window's closed. But Denver, this team has given up 70 points this year. They're very close to passing up Kansas City. They're one game behind Kansas City in that division at this point. Cincinnati, now with their backup quarterbacks playing better than they have all year. Houston, they took an L yesterday, but you know what? These teams
they're playing well.
They're playing well. And the Indianapolis team is who we play this weekend. And as I say every week that this is the biggest game, that's generally the case. And this week is no different. This Indianapolis Colts game will be the biggest game of the Steelers season.
Yeah, this is a playoff game right now. It's God, that year we went on as the 6th seed to win the Super Bowl. You had to win out. That's where they are right now. Does this team have that ability? No. No. But you start playing. You have to start treating these games as playoff games.
The playoffs start now.
Yeah, and if this team finishes 9-8, just misses the playoffs, I don't think you're going to see major changes that fans and the media want to see.
That is if
this team loses out, you'll see those major changes. I think if they make it to the playoffs and then get blown out, you will see major changes. But if we just finish 9-8, it's going to be the same again. You need to make it and get destroyed or lose out and rebuild.
That's the thing that worries me, Mike. If this team falls in that gray area when the season's over at 9-8, they don't get in the playoffs, yet they still have a winning season. That's what worries me the most. Yeah. You either go one way or the other. This mediocre garbage has to stop. Even if you get into the playoffs and you lose, at least you made the playoffs. Or on the other hand, blow it. Don't get 500. Make some legitimate changes on this team, and let's see what we could do moving forward. I just really feel that if they finish 9-8, that's going to be the worst case scenario for the Steelers team.
Oh yeah, because you're going to be stuck in mediocrity. You can't improve once you get stuck in that area. You can ride it out. You can ride it out the way Pittsburgh's doing and hope to get into the playoffs, or you just got to blow it up and start from scratch.
A couple of things, a couple of numbers I wanted to throw at you. I want to go back a little bit to Thursday night's game against the Patriots. The Steelers are 4-14 versus the Patriots since the year 2000. 4-14. Bill Belichick has won 2 Super Bowls since the last time we won a playoff game. But the good news is this, guys. By play this weekend, the Patriots have been eliminated from the playoffs. This is kind of where I think that we need to fall into the category. They could have tried. They could have had a mediocre season. They could have tried to finish with a decent year, but they're going to be okay. They're going to get Williams. They're going to get Drake May. They're going to get one. They're going to get their guy. They're going to get their next guy. And you know what? In the big picture, that's going to be important for this Patriots franchise moving forward. They need that guy to get ready to turn the ship around.
They do, because it all depends, where Chicago, if Chicago is going to use that number 1 pick on Caleb Williams or not, or are they going to ride with Justin Fields? New England thought they had their guy in Mac Jones. They thought they found their system, a quarterback that would run that system. They didn't, and it's looking like they're not going to be afraid to go, you know what? Hey, we're going to move on. We're going to go different direction. And it's fun to watch them collapse like this, but at the same time, you're like, oh my God, if they can somehow keep Belichick there and he can get himself another one of these top quarterbacks, what's he going to do? I think he can turn that team around fast. But I think he needs better coordinators. I think he needs a better offense and defensive coordinator on that team. Because when he had Romeo Crennel and the other big fat guy.
The other fat guy.
Yeah, they were rolling. They were rolling because those guys were great coordinators, terrible head coaches, but great coordinators. And if you surround him with those great coordinators, he can just manage the game, pay attention to all the details.
Once again, the Steelers underachieved. They only managed to put up 18 points against a hapless New England Patriots team on Thursday. Let's take a look at what some of the other teams around the division did. They scored.
I don't want to.
The Ravens scored 37 points. The Bengals scored 34 points, and the Browns scored 31 points. Everybody upward of 30 points in the division, all while winning their games. The Ravens beat the Rams 37-31. Bengals beat Indianapolis 34-14, and finally the Browns beat Jacksonville 31-27 with Flacco under center and also Browning at Cincinnati under center. These 3 teams are showing signs of moving forward and in the right direction. We still haven't scored 30 points since the Bengals game last season where we lost 37-30. It's something has got to give.
There's a lot of things have to give on this team. God, they just need to just blow it up and start over.
They really
I think we're still in contention, but
the way we've been playing on offense and defense, this vaunted defense that's just, giving up points to scrub quarterbacks.
They're still in contention and don't mean
4
anything.
games we play on the road, Derpy. We play on the road 3 times. We play Indianapolis this Saturday on the road. We come home to play the Bengals, and then we travel to Seattle, clear across the country. Never an easy game to win up there. And then finally we finish up at Baltimore. With that being said, you got to win. You have to win some games here. You have 4 games, 3 of them are on the road, and there's 5. Did I count them right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams that are 7-6 right behind us as we sit with the 7-6 record. We are literally technically still in contention. Yes, I mean that is a fact. We haven't been eliminated yet, such as the Carolina Panthers, New England Patriots. We are still in it. But these next 4 weeks are going to tell a lot of what's going to happen, I believe, with this Pittsburgh Steelers team moving forward, how we're going to handle the draft, how we're going to handle the offseason, how we're going to handle this. I mean, if you sat down and watched the Philadelphia Eagles and Dallas play last night and believe that we have a chance to win a Super Bowl, I think that might be a little bit out of question. Those 2 teams are 2 good football teams. Even if you sit back and you watch the Kansas City Buffalo game, where they're not seemingly playing as good as those NFC counterparts, you still have to say to yourself, we're not playing anywhere near as good as these 2 teams did, Kansas City and Buffalo, despite what happened during the game with the calls, with this, that. I don't, Derpy, I think you might get another year before you could get your TJ Watt tattoo. I want to be wrong.
I need it, though. I need that TJ Watt tattoo.
I want to be wrong. I want this team to do great and do great things. But if you look at it realistically and just, kind of comb over some of the things that we've already mentioned on the show and things that, that you just know, it's going to be very, very difficult. Maybe the only thing that I'm guessing is maybe just because it's been such a bizarre season and the craziest things have happened, maybe, just maybe that could be that could be something to hang on because, maybe the Steelers could go and they could win a game that they're not supposed to. But as I said, guys, you just watched us lose the two win teams in a row in must-win situations. It's really, really getting difficult for me to believe. And as I said in the past, defend this team.
Well, the only a defense going into that New England game, that defense gave up 26 points in the past, 3-4 games beforehand. So they were shutting teams out. They held Justin Herbert's offense to 6 points. So expecting us to score more than what San Diego did might have been a stretch. If we were just going through and looking at their record and who was playing quarterback, that should have been an easy one. But like we did and you did, we dug down deep into the stats and found out this game might be a lot closer than it would be. And I think we were some of the few to have it close in the score, and that was going to be a tight game. So it doesn't surprise me that we lost.
Go back and look
more than other people.
I don't recall. I do know the Chargers lost over the weekend. I don't remember who they lost to, but the argument could be there, Mike, because that's just not a good team.
That is just and their head coach Brandon Staley is just ruining that team.
Let me continue with the NFC playoff picture as we speak. The number 1 seed has finally changed. They changed the changing of the guards, if you will. Number 1 seed in the NFC as we speak, Mike, is the 10-3 San Francisco 49ers. The number 2 seed in the NFC playoff picture as we speak, the 10-3, yes, Dallas Cowboys. They leapfrog over Philadelphia, knocking the Philadelphia Eagles back to a wild card spot. Who would have thought we would have seen it 2 weeks ago when this team was 10-0 or whatever they were?
Yeah, they were Eagles were flying high, and now they were poached out the sky. The refs they're stopping to favor them and Kansas City. So apparently the script writers and the wise guys in the NFL are thinking,
we don't want the refs favor.
We don't want the Kelsey Bowl this year again. We don't want that rematch. So let's get some other teams favored up in there.
Number 3 in the NFC at this moment is the 9-4 Detroit Lions, who took an L to the Bears yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Number 4 in the AFC, which will be the last division leader, is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who is 6-7. Who also is tied with 2 other teams in that division at 6-7.
Yep.
The number 5 seed. Now you're getting into your wild card teams. The Philadelphia Eagles with a 10-3 record. Number 6, the Minnesota Vikings with a 7-6 record, pulling off a 3-0 win yesterday. And finally, the Green Bay Packers with a 6-6 record. Half the teams in the NFC are going to be under 500, Mike.
Why can't we be in the NFC? We would be kick shit over there. We'd be a dominant team. They're struggling a little bit. Don't rebound. Don't worry.
They're playing.
Don't worry. Steelers got the NFC South coming up. They'll leapfrog into first. I mean, come on. NFC is a joke.
NFC is a joke.
They're top heavy. And don't get me wrong, their top heavy teams are legit. And yeah, like
are they just playing teams in this NFC that aren't any good?
I think they're like the 49ers, Cowboys. The way they're playing, they're playing really good football. Yeah. I forget who did say 49ers versus Cowboys NFC Championship. Someone on this panel did.
I don't remember, but I do know this, Mike. Here are the toughest schedule play by opponent win percentages this year. People want to argue and say the Steelers had such an easy way, and maybe these other teams are much better because their competition was better. Till this point, here's the numbers. Pittsburgh Steelers, the number 1 toughest schedule in the league with a 5.61, 56.1 percentage. The toughest schedule by teams played in the NFL, not at the beginning of the season on what the teams were.
Based on last year. Yeah,
based on everything that's gone this year, the Steelers have played the toughest schedule by opponent's win percentage. Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs with a 5.57. Number 3, the Cleveland Browns with a 5.56. The Chargers with a 5.53. Cincinnati, 5.52, Jacksonville, 5.49, Tampa Bay, 5.49, and finally, the New England Patriots with a 5.44. Wow. This is the percentage of teams that we've played. So say what you want about the Steelers having this bad schedule, this easy schedule. We do have the toughest schedule by percentage of the opponents that we played in their winning percentage, guys.
That's actually kind of surprising to me because I knew coming in, we had an easy schedule on paper.
Yes.
No one saw the jump that the Texans were going to make. No one saw that coming. I thought it would improve on last year, but no one thought that the way that offense and defense would be clicking. So that's damn. Look at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Very nice.
Yeah. So it kind of helps put things into perspective. A lot of people don't want to look at that, but the numbers don't lie. We have the toughest schedule, and we're sitting at 7-6. Not bad for a team that is top to bottom roster wise is not the strongest in the NFL.
And we are lucky. We're lucky enough to have word from very special guest. I said it, very special guest, Shannon Sharp, here with his expertise. Thank you, Shannon, for your word. Boy, what a mush mouth this guy
is.
Oh,
God. If you bring on you brought Shannon on now, if Skip Bayless comes out of nowhere, I'm definitely gonna flip out again.
Stephen A is next, but that was Shannon, everybody. Shannon Sharp. Thank you for your wise words.
Oh God, why won't you just have your buddy in the Hawaiian shirt on next?
Well, I gotta say, my buddy in the Hawaiian shirt finally see eye to eye on something. We will get into that a little bit more as the show goes on. Maybe the first time I've ever agreed with this guy. So we will be talking.
Does it have to do with his recent article?
It may be one of his recent articles.
Does it?
With maybe with our coach.
Maybe. Yes. Okay, good. I hope I didn't jump the gun with the thumb now because I put it. Okay,
you're good. A couple of things, Mike, regarding this Pittsburgh Steelers team that I do want to talk about. Again, there's a lot of NFL, a lot of crazy things that happened yesterday, but we are going to touch our bases here with the Steelers. Of course, Mike, Minkah Fitzpatrick quoted the other day, too many players on this team don't want to put the work in and just expect to make plays and perform at a high level because they wear black and gold. Mike, is somebody finally stepping up on this team and saying the things that need to be said?
Yeah, I think so. There's finally and I'm glad it's Minkah because he's someone who will take responsibility for his own actions as well. He's not a guy
he's not an underachiever, not somebody who's not doing good things. And he wants to talk like, let's just say, maybe Cam, who doesn't, look like that player every week. Minkah is the guy on defense. He's the best safety in the league, according to a lot of people. So for him to come forth with this statement, I think was gold.
Yeah, I like it. I saw on the radio people were saying, he's talking about Deontay Johnson, but it seems like him and Deontay squashed whatever beef they had the other game. Deontay made that good catch. Minka's out there celebrating with them. And they even said, hey, you know what, we're boys, we're brothers. We argue, we'll fight, we'll move on. I think there's other people in that offense he's talking about, and other people on that defense as well.
It isn't just one guy, I can tell you that.
It just one guy either. No. Yeah, Deontay, he made his mistake. He owned up to the team, and he came out in the next game, performed as well as he could have, because, in this offense, how well can anyone perform? I think there's other people on this team that need to take a look in the mirror too, and I'm glad it was Minka and not someone like Cam Hayward saying it.
Right. Because
I'm still trying to disrespected like the game that Cam had was a damn good game, and he's had a damn good career.
And I'm still trying to put the pieces together on where Cam says it's him and Aaron Donald and everybody else.
I'm still trying to figure that out.
That's where I'm coming from with Cam. I don't know. I have no disrespect. I like Cam. I like him as a person, and I think he's a solid tackle. But at the end of the day, you got to speak within your lines, and he does. He goes outside. Minka's
saying it. Yeah, he's the right one to say it. I think this team needs more leaders on offense. Deontay Johnson, he's trying to be that guy, but he also struggles with his emotions to keep them in check. So he needs. I think if we had another strong leader on offense, Deontay Johnson would be a pretty good, a number 2 leader to help guys, because he will say the right thing. He will own accountability. We need another person like Minka on offense to speak out more.
I couldn't agree
more.
And
it's kind of a shame not to throw shade at Kenny, not to throw shade at Mitch. I'd like to see those guys be more of a vocal leader.
Absolutely.
Not afraid to take shots. We saw it from Ben. Ben was not afraid to call people out.
Right.
Of course, Ben had the cachet of a 2-time Super Bowl winner, future Hall of Famer, but you're starting quarterback in the NFL. You got to start holding yourself accountable, then start calling your teammates out as well.
Absolutely. That is the sign of what a real leader does on the offensive side. If you're a quarterback and you want to lead your team, you got to be able to speak the truth and tell
like
people.
Najee tries to do it sometimes too, but the way he comes across, it seems kind of, how it just doesn't come across the way I think he wants it to come across.
I couldn't agree more, Mike. A couple of rumors I want to throw at you real quick. A couple of rumors I'm seeing around. Of course, we'll get more into the Heisman Trophy winning Jaden Daniels as the show goes on. But a couple of the rumors that I'm seeing on the internet over the weekend, the Steelers predicted to land Heisman winner quarterback from LSU, Jaden Daniels, one rumor. And another rumor I'm seeing is the Steelers and the Falcons are going to be the 2 teams in the running for Justin Fields. Does either one of these moves make sense to you, Mike, in rebuilding this team?
For me, it would be Justin Fields. Jaden Daniels, he had a really good season. I'm just not sold on him. Justin Fields, you're seeing growth with him, and they don't use him right in that offense, so that's annoying. So we get a good offensive coordinator that can use him.
Didn't he just beat the Lions?
He did just beat the Lions.
Doing good things,
Yeah, like when he's at, like, DJ Moore's having a really good year, and that's the receiver that they traded for from Carolina. His numbers are every time Justin Fields plays, his numbers are good. When Justin Fields doesn't play, his numbers are bad. So he can make a receiver look better. So this is a guy I wouldn't mind having, Yeah, he's 24, but he's been in the league for 3-4 years now. 3 years now. So he knows the NFL. I think there's something there with him. Like, the Bears just ruined him. You can say the same, Bears ruined Trubisky, but Trubisky should never been drafted that high. Justin Fields did this at a high level in the Big Ten.
Realistically, conference. The Bears haven't had a. When was the last time they've had a really good quarterback? I can't say ever, in my opinion, because they've never had that guy. They've never had that guy, and I'm having a really hard time telling if Justin Fields is that guy because of because it is the Bears, and you have this great talent. But so those are the 2 rumors that I've seen over the weekend, Mike.
Yeah, but right now I'm not that high on Daniels. I thought he was a hell of a college quarterback. I just don't know how well it's going to translate into the pros. Yeah, he came out of the SEC playing a high-level competition. But I don't know. Maybe give Kenny one more year and then move on.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Sometimes you don't want to drag that process on, and sometimes you don't want to cut the cord too early. So it's a tricky situation.
That's a good segue, Mike. That's a good segue into what we're going to talk about next. The Mike Tomlin apparently seems to be on the hot seat. I wasn't aware of this. I knew that there was a lot of people that was calling for his head. I knew there was other people that was saying that he's a great coach that landed a 500 record or better ever since he's been in the league. I want to talk a little bit with you guys about this today, because this is big news. I mean, realistically, this could be coming to a head as this season concludes. We have 4 games left, 4, in my opinion, difficult games for this Pittsburgh Steelers team to attempt a win. 3 of them being on the road. I do want to talk about this, Mike. I had you put together a package of some people that may be, because my question is this, guys. Let's just say we send Mike Tomlin down the road, one way or another. Whatever my opinion is at this point is irrelevant. The point is, if we send Tomlin down the road, you're going to have a plan in place.
Yes.
You're not going to be able to just send the guy down the road and go on with happy living and say, we're the Pittsburgh Steelers again. You're going to have to find somebody that's going to be able to step into that spot, be productive, be able to win football games, and get better every year. Mike, break me down some knowledge on who some people could possibly be that we could bring into.
I'll do that. Yeah, real quick. I just want to say, like, Steeler fans have to know, like, you bring in a new coach. This new coach, we want a modern offense. Guess what? That's not going to be ground and pound. We're not going to be sitting up there, I'll pound the ball. That might not be the new Steelers offense. So be careful what you wish for. You might get a pass-heavy team that runs sporadically. And then on the flip side, maybe they want a 4-3 defense. Our defense, as constructed right now, is not ready to be 4-3. TJ Watt's on an outside backer in the 4-3, and he's on a 4-3 D end.
So they would have to be. Is if we bring somebody in, it's going to get worse before it gets better.
It can get a whole lot worse before better, or unless Rooney says, hey, you find yourself a D coordinator that can run the 3-4, you get whatever offense you want, but you keep that defense a 3-4. So, couple candidates.
Yes.
Bobby Slovic, Texans offensive coordinator. Very young. It would be a risk, but we hired Cower young. We hired Mike Tomlin young. Right now, you want a modern offense? Number 1 in passing yards. They have right now they're number 1 in passing throughout the league.
If they could bring CJ Stroud with him, I would be all
exactly. But the downside is they're 25th in rushing.
Right.
So, but they're also 13th in points per game at 22 points per game, and that's a whole hell of a lot better than what the Steelers are in points per game. Because we are 16 points a game.
All right. What do we got next?
Next, we have Steve Wilk, 49ers defensive coordinator. They are 8th in yards per game, 300 yards per game, and they are 1st in scoring defense, 15.8.
All right.
But yet, he comes from a 4-3. So if you want a defensive coach, he might change the system or he might not. Then, the guy that I really like, that if Washington fires their coaching staff, Eric Bieniemy.
Okay.
The offensive coordinator. Okay. Washington's only averaging 20 points a game. Last year, they averaged 18.9. He improved them. But in 2022, Kansas City, when he was there, 29.2. So this guy knows how to call an offense. Again, rushing yards, 23rd in the league, but they're averaging 99.9 yards a game, 100 yards a game. I think his offense would fit well in with Pittsburgh the way we like to do it. I think, to me, he is my number 1 candidate.
I got to tell you one thing. I mean, not to cut you off. I know you still have more guys.
Yeah.
But whoever it is, boy, they sure got their work cut out for them, because these numbers that you're putting out there that these guys are putting up, it's like,
can they do it with this offense?
Right.
But can they? These players, the scheme, blah blah blah. Yeah, Brian. Yeah, Tomlin did come from the 4-3, but he also had Dick LeBeau here, and he was told Dick LeBeau's running that defense. They're running a 3-4.
Right.
Now, then we have Brian Flores, who was just here, inside backers coach.
He crossed my mind over the weekend.
Vikings D coordinator. They are 10th in yards per game, 5th against the rush, 14th against the pass, 15th in scoring defense. And
it seems like they're playing better football when they're in a bad situation. When their quarterback goes down, they're playing better. When they're playing their backup, they're playing better. It isn't like this Flores is crumbling under the pressure.
No. And now these next 2 are the ones that I think, if we let Tomlin go this year or next, it's going to be one of these 2. From the Eagles, Brian Johnson, the offensive coordinator. 26 points a game. They 234 yards passing, 124 yards rushing a game. That's like a Steelers offense right there. That was like Ben in his prime. So right there, that might be the guy, or their defensive coordinator, Sean, I messed up his name, Desir. Points per game, they're giving up a lot more points than we are on defense. They're giving up 24 points a game
for
Philly. Yeah, but they're 6th against the run. Their pass defense 25.9 or 260 yards against the pass, but they did lose a lot of players.
He's a victim of circumstance too.
Yeah, they lost a lot of guys.
That, and if you're putting up a lot of points, you're going to give up more points by default. I believe that's the case. And if you're not scoring, you know what I mean? It's all comes down to the style and how the game is played by those particular teams.
Yeah. And then the last one I have, this might rub Steeler fans the wrong way, but the Bengals offensive coordinator, Brian Callahan.
Okay.
Numbers are down this year because Burrow has been hurt, but yards per game, they're 22nd, 314. That's a little better than the Steelers. Points per game, 21.5. Passing yards, 229. That's kind of where we were, like beginning of Ben's career. But the key is their rushing yards, only 84 yards a game. But they had, again, that's this year's stats. Joe Burrow was hurt, but when they had Burrows healthy, that offense was clicking down there. Those are my top 7 candidates.
I like it, Mike. Great job. That was fantastic work. I want to say great job. That was
thank you. This is what happens when I have a margarita before the show.
That's what I'm saying. We got to keep you drinking.
You know, normally people say, "Hey, we need to cut back on the alcohol."
No,
Ryan's like, "No, drink more.
Please, by all means,
drink more."
Yeah. If this show's going to run smoothly, there's going to be alcohol involved.
There has to be alcohol involved. But no, like I wouldn't be opposed to any of those guys. But like I said, it will get worse before it gets better. Like Ryan said,
I agree,
because you never know what kind of. We're used to a Steeler fan. We think we should run the ball, then pass. But the modern day, man, the passing game sets up the run game.
Here's a couple of things. I want to talk about Mike Tomlin for a little bit, Mike. We do have a lot to go over. Mike Tomlin, one thing that I would like to see from him, a couple of things I'd like to see from him. Presley Harvin seems to have a bad punt. And it's not like, don't get me wrong, these punts aren't game-changing bad punts.
Yeah.
They're punts that happen through the course of a game that they're shanks.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see those kind of things. The little things that need fixed along the way need to be fixed along the way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Those kind of things, of course, his punts aren't killing us. They haven't made us lose any games, but at some point they are, and you need to have a punter who doesn't shank the ball every other game. I mean, there's things that I think everybody would certainly change about what Mike Tomlin does. I'm just going to give you a couple numbers, and this isn't even the spark debate. These just kind of things to make people, that maybe help people realize what we do have. He's been in how many seasons? 17 seasons where he's been over 500. I think this is an accomplishment, but on the other hand, only four of those seasons he was able to win in the playoffs. Out of 17 seasons, only 4 of them he was able to strum up wins in the playoffs. That's a problem people don't talk about often. Also, what else? His record in the playoffs is 8-9. So we have a problem. There is a problem there. We could go on and on about his great losing record, and that is an amazing feat. Nobody, who else has that? But there's things about the guy that the people, when they defend him, they don't talk about those little things that he does need to fix, but from year to year just doesn't seem to get fixed. In my opinion, this is just my opinion, when you get one of these players coaches, you don't ever get the players to play to their full potential. I think that it has to be a more professional setting. I believe it's got to be somebody who takes control of the team and says, this is what we got to do or else. And we're seeing, again, my opinion, I believe we're seeing the consequences of that not being the case with Coach Tomlin. I want us to win all the time. I don't, I want Tomlin to win, because he's a Steeler coach. But these are some of the things that I think that people overlook. Again, four years out of the 17, is the amount of times he was able to strum up wins in the playoffs. 4 seasons out of 17. That's a problem where, again, people I think overlook. And one other thing, Mike, I got to ask you your opinion on this. And Derpy, don't hesitate to jump in. Do either one of you believe that if Big Ben wouldn't have been here as the baton was passed to Mike Tomlin, do you think that he would have 17 winning seasons at this point? I'm talking about Coach Tomlin. If he didn't have a Hall of Fame quarterback through the duration up to the last season, of course.
No, because we saw like what happened with Cowher, and even we saw it under Noel as well. Those Hall of Fame quarterbacks they'll help your resume.
What people don't understand, Cowher came into a very bad situation. They had Bubby Brister. They hadn't won in years. They haven't been, And Tomlin, he got handed a team that just won a Super Bowl with a Hall of Fame quarterback. Again, I don't want to go into debate. I don't want to argue. I don't want to fight, but people don't realize these little things. And that goes a long way. You give me a quarterback and a team that's built to win a Super Bowl, I'm probably going to do well. If you give somebody Bubby Brister and 11 bad seasons in a row, chances are that they're going to have to build. And I would like to see Tomlin do a little bit more building opposed to what is going on. And I think that's why his name is being mentioned on the hot seat lately, guys. I do want to say I just flipped myself. Mike is obviously handling it. I just flipped over to the screen here with on the board. I do want to say good morning, everybody. Thank you for your participation. Greatly appreciated. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Ralph. Everybody there. Fellas, let's jump into what happened over the weekend. I want to go through some football games, some scores, get your thoughts on some things. We're going to go over divisions, playoffs. So hang tight, guys. We're going to knock this section of the show out. We still have 2 Monday night games tonight.
Oh, and they're barn burners. Let me tell you.
Well, they're important.
They are.
They may not be barn burners,
yeah.
But the couple teams that are involved, the Packers obviously they just moved into that 7th spot in the NFC, and then the Dolphins could leapfrog Baltimore. But let's start at the top of the weekend, guys. We're going to skip right over the Steeler game. Go into the Jets Texans. I think this game surprised everybody. Zach Wilson played out of his mind.
Who'd have thought?
Who would have thought? And he wins this football game, and the Jets win 30-6 over the Texans. I didn't in a million years think that the Jets would win this game.
Neither did I, but you're starting to see like this Texans team starting to lose some steam. They're a young team.
Hitting that wall?
Yeah, they hit that wall. They have a lot of young players on the team, a lot of rookies playing key positions, key minutes. It's hitting the wall. It's not that like the coach has lost the team. It's just you hit that wall, man.
Baltimore Ravens, they pull off the win, and they were down to the Rams, goes to overtime, and they return a punt all the way back for a touchdown to win this game 37-31. Why does it seem like everybody after we played the Rams seemed to be having a hard time against that team in our division?
I don't know. I don't know. That Rams team they're an enigma, man. They have talent. I think they're finally just kind of starting to play up to their talent level.
I guess when you work in LA, anything could be possible, right?
And dreams are made.
Dreams are made in LA, Derpy. Dreams are made.
We need to get Derpy out to LA.
Derpy.
Absolutely. Next game on the list, guys. The Saints 28-6 over the Panthers. I don't want to say I'm surprised at all, but the reason I would be is because the Saints stink. They put up 28 points on this team, but the Panthers, they are really bad. They take the L 28-6.
There's nothing more that I love than watching this Panthers team collapse after they traded all that to get the little midget, out of Alabama, and they pass up CJ Stroud. I love it. I love it.
Bengals 34-14. They help us out a little bit in the playoff chase, but they're also helping themselves out in the playoff chase. Guys, these are the next 2 teams that we played in the Indianapolis Colts and the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals win this one 34-14. If you're a Steeler fan, that would have been a good game to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, would have been a good game. I slept through that one.
Buccaneers 29, Falcons 25. Again, nobody in this division has over a 6-7 record. However, the top 3 teams in that division are sitting there with a 6-7 record. One of them will win the division. And the Falcons lose. They drop it to the Buccaneers 29-25.
F you, Atlanta. You cost me. You cost me a win.
The Browns and the Jaguars, another team. You get Trevor Lawrence back after he hurts himself the other night, comes back. He's able to play. Doesn't play up to his expectations, of course. Browns win this game 31-27 over Jacksonville, cementing their spot in that number 5 seed with an 8-5 record.
And this Jacksonville team, my God, talk about a team on paper that should be on the rise, but they're just like stuck, like everyone else, stuck in that middle.
That team is going to live, and that team is going to die by Trevor Lawrence, bottom line.
Yeah, it is. And some weeks he looks lights out. Other weeks he looks kind of average. Never looks bad. It's just average to very good. He needs to stay in that very good to elite level.
This one here surprised me, actually. The Bears 28, the Lions 13. We talked about this a little bit earlier.
Oh, yeah.
With Justin Fields. The Lions, they are a very good team. They're a solid team, but there's just from week to week, you don't know which one they're going to lose. And that's the one thing that I think separates the 49ers, the Eagles, and even the Cowboys when you talk about the elite teams in the NFC. Maybe the Detroit Lions are another season away, but they just every week you're like, well, they should have beat the Bears. Come on.
Yeah. Every year it's like the Lions. Then it's like, okay, maybe next year.
Right.
Maybe next year. They're becoming that team that's good, but not good enough. Not consistent. I think that's the problem with them. They're not consistent.
The big rivalry in the NFC West, apparently.
The greatest rivalry in NFL that no one knows about.
I didn't even know this was a rivalry. The Seahawks, they fall to the 49ers 28-16, pushing the San Francisco 49ers, guys, to the number 1 seed in the NFC at the moment. If the playoffs started today, San Fran would be off next week.
They might win it all. They might go
Raiders, Mike. The Vikings and the Raiders.
Raiders.
Vikings 3, Raiders nothing. This hasn't happened in I forget what they said, 16 years, 17 years, something like that. But what a rare score. And what's the chances NFL caliber players through the course of 60-minute game time, 3-hour real time, can't put themselves in a position to score more than 3 points? Again, the league is crazy this year. I can't make sense of it. And you know what? I still don't to this point. Like I can't figure out what's going on in the NFL.
Hey, people want to say the Steelers offense sucks. At least we put up more than 3 freaking points.
That's right.
We may have lost, but we put up more than 3 points.
They put up 3 points and won. Good Lord.
Hey, we put up more than 0 points.
These Denver Broncos.
Who saw this coming?
The 7 most improved team in the league, in my opinion, 24-7 over the Chargers. They were a team that lost. They gave up 70 points earlier this season to the Miami Dolphins. Here they are right in the playoff race. Here they are with the same record as the Steelers, Colts, Texans, Bengals, Buffalo, and just as good as chance because they are moving up with their play, opposed to some of these other 7-6 teams are seeming to slide. So keep an eye on this Denver team. They win 24-7 over the Chargers.
Oh, the Chargers. Send us Justin Herbert.
Oh, please, just give us Justin Herbert. We'll give you our head coach. That would work out for everybody. They could use a head coach, and we could use a franchise quarterback.
And you know what? We will give them
make it happen.
We will give them Kenny Pickett as well.
Absolutely.
No disrespect, Kenny.
No disrespect. And
I'm not your biggest fan, but no disrespect.
And I love Kenny, and you know that I'm all on board here. Yeah. Another game that I think if you're a football fan in general, the Bills and the Chiefs is a good one to watch. With much due controversy in this game, the Buffalo Bills win the game 20-17. I got to see Patrick Mahomes cry. And
that was great.
You know what? I got to say, boo-hoo. I mean, geez. For somebody who gets every call in this league for the past 5 years, I gotta say it was nice to see him crying about
these past 2 seasons. He has become the biggest crybaby in the league. Before it was like, all right, Pat's taking hits, getting up and moving on. Now he has embraced the Tom Brady role of get hit and cry, lose and cry. Pat, what are you doing to me? I used to be a big fan. You've entered Cam Hayward territory for me.
Patty Mahomes with his prego ass,
right? Yeah. Like Kadarius Toney literally lines up offsides.
Come on. That was the league changed
the league changed the rule. Like the refs will no longer warn you if you block the view of the ball.
I don't understand how Toney could be right there and not see that he's offside.
Yeah. The ref doesn't. Yeah. He's 11 penalties have been called on that play alone.
He was only 7 feet, only about 7 feet away from the football, and he's looking right at the football. How he could not tell that he's offside is mind blowing.
The cornerback is right here, who was onside in your face. You think you would look and say, "Oh shit, step back," and negates one of the smartest plays I've seen in football.
Was a nasty play, no two ways about it.
That was a beautiful. That might have been the best pass in Steelers season that Kelsey threw if he was on our team.
There was some points during the Steeler game that people could say there was some funny play going on when there was.
That's the center,
and then we get called, and their guy's actually offside. He doesn't get called. Yeah, my man, Mike from Cleveland, Myles Garrett says this. Referees should be held to a standard like the players are in this league.
He is not wrong.
He is not wrong. I'm obviously I'm it's tongue in cheek. I'm not a fan of Myles Garrett, but I agree with him 100% in this situation, Mike. the referees need to be held accountable. And if that's not the case, maybe it is the fact that everyone's putting parlays all of a sudden into these NFL games where, 5 years ago that wasn't the case. But I got to say, the games sure look a lot different now than they did 5 years ago.
Oh, can I interject real quick about parlays? So this prisoner, this guy got arrested. He had to post 10,000 bail. He didn't have it. He made a 16 parlay, hit for $13,000.
Good for him.
And was able to pay his bail. I love it.
I like
America.
America.
And he picked the Bears, was one of his teams.
Did he really?
Yeah. And like some other like sports league team that I never even heard of. This guy went off the board everywhere. Hell yeah.
Good for him, man.
Good for him. I hope he didn't kill someone. And that's why he posted bond. I'm talking him up.
But I agree. Something's going on. Whatever it is, I don't know. Something's going on.
These officials are just.
They're as bad as they've been. You know what? NFL officials have always been pretty good, in my opinion.
And these are like guys are worse than.
I think Mike might have froze.
I know. I was reading the comment about like Myles Garrett saying accountable. He's like Brian saying accountable. He took a man's helmet and could have killed him by bashing the helmet off his head. Where's the accountability there? It was Mason Rudolph. Okay, he didn't hurt a human. He didn't hurt a person. He hurt Mason Rudolph.
That's true.
That's terrible. True. I like Mason Rudolph.
Finally, the last game, the game Sunday night, was a pretty important game because it decides the NFC East at this point in the season, where the Eagles have dominated all the way up to this point.
Yeah.
They were undefeated until about 3 weeks ago. The Cowboys come to town and they whoop them 33-13, putting the Dallas Cowboys in the number 2 spot overall in the NFC.
Mm-hmm. They put an ass whooping on. That's back-to-back losses. They lost to the 49ers and the Cowboys.
But they were due. They were due for some losses. I said all season, once this team starts playing some teams that are higher caliber, they're going to lose some football games.
And they were not competitive either.
That was the case last night. Dallas wins, and they are number 2 in the NFC and number 1 in that division over there. So 2 games tonight. The Packers at the Giants. The Packers are riding the line on the number 7 seed in the NFC with a 6-6 record. If they beat the Lions, they go to 7-6, makes them look a little bit more, valid for a playoff spot. That's 8-15. Also 8-15. The Titans and the Dolphins. If the Dolphins win this football game, they do leapfrog Baltimore back to the number 1 seed in the AFC. At the moment, if they lose, Baltimore will keep that number 1 seed.
Let's go Tennessee. I want Baltimore to win the number 1 seed. So the last game of the year, they just rest all their starters.
That'd be nice.
And then that's the game we win and make it to
consider
the
playoffs.
Help us out, Baltimore. Come on now.
Your divisions look like this, guys. In the AFC East, Dolphins at the moment is 9-3, Buffalo 7-6, the Jets 5-8, the Patriots officially eliminated from the playoffs over the weekend, or with a 3-10 record.
I love it.
The AFC West is getting closer. The Chiefs with an 8-5, Broncos with a 7-6, Chargers and Raiders both tied with a lowly 5-8 record. In the AFC South, Jacksonville with an 8-5 record, the Colts and Texans both in with the 7-6 record, and the Titans bringing up the rear with a 4-8. And in the ever competitive AFC North, the Ravens 10-3, Browns 8-5, Steelers and Bengals with a 7-6, and the Steelers have a slight tiebreaker by head-to-head. Over in the NFC East, as we just talked about, record-wise, Cowboys and Eagles both 10-3. However, the Cowboys sit atop the division. The Giants with a 4-8 record, and then the Commanders with a 4-9. In the NFC West, 49ers 10-3. The next closest team behind them is 6-7, which is the Rams and the Seahawks. And finally, in the basement of the NFC West is the Cardinals with a 3-10 record. The NFC South, Buccaneers, Falcons, Saints, all 6-7.
That's my favorite division.
In the team that's in the basement has 1 win, 1-12 Carolina.
Like Carolina, New Orleans is 3rd, and they're the only team with a plus minus or like a positive point differential.
Yes, they are.
that is just the best.
Also, finally, in the NFC North, the Lions lead the way with a 9-4 record. Still don't they still don't have the division wrapped up though. Vikings 2 games behind them with 4 games left. They're 7-6 the Vikings are. The Packers 6-6 with the game tonight, and the Bears with a 5-8 record, Mike.
Bears with the modest 2-game win streak.
Yeah, you got to like that if you're a Bears fan. But Mike, we do have to move on here a little bit because we're down to about 10 minutes of the show. That is the NFL. One other thing I do want to say, unfortunately, we lost the Titans' great tight end Frank Wycheck over the weekend. Frank Wycheck had passed away, and if you were a Steeler fan, you certainly remember that guy.
Oh yeah, champion of the Music City Miracle.
Yes, and many times as a tight end has done to the Steelers, and as they generally do to the Steelers, he hurt us a lot of times over the years.
As far as I can remember, man, back to the 80s.
Yeah,
we can never cover a tight end.
We are going to stay in football, though, Mike. The Pitt Panthers named their offensive coordinator this morning. They named Cade Bell, who was their new offensive coordinator. He was Western Carolina's FCS leading attack. This guy, a lot of great things about him, Mike. And I do have some words here from Coach Pat Narduzzi. Cade's offensive approach, relentlessly fast and aggressive, is everything a defensive coordinator hates to face and the type of system our players will absolutely love. He's an incredibly creative play caller who's widely regarded as one of the brightest young coaches in the country. Beyond X's and O's, Cade understands and greatly values relationships building with his players and fellow coaches on and off the field. Cade Bell will make us better. As of this morning, the Pitt Panthers do have a new offensive coordinator.
Congratulations. Now all they need is a quarterback.
And a coach, but well, that's for another day. That's for another show. And the high school football over the weekend. I'm going to just give you a rundown here real quick, Mike. In single A, I'm going to start from the top, go down. Even though we did speak about the first two games on Friday, here is your single A match. Stilton Highshire beats Fort Cherry 42-8 in state championship play over the weekend. Double A, Southern Columbia 21, Westinghouse 20.
That was a nail biter.
Oh, too bad that Westinghouse couldn't pull that off because that would have gave us an even 3-3 on the weekend.
Yep.
And it was, I think 40 seconds. I think that.
It was Yep.
Belle Vernon in AAA. Belle Vernon 38. Northwestern Lehigh 7. Quad A Aliquippa 60. Dallas 14. 5A Imhotep Charter 38. Peters Township 13. And the big boys over in 6A St. Joe's Prep, who's actually ranked number 9 in the country. They win 45 to number 23. Over North Allegheny. Tyson Alualu's boy, Chris Hoke's boy, a bunch of guys that are Steelers sons are on that North Allegheny team. They did lose, however, 45-23 to St. Joe's Prep. I do want to say congratulations to Jaden Daniels, the quarterback at LSU. He did win the Heisman Trophy over the weekend.
Real quick, I didn't realize he had a 72% or 74% completion percentage this year. No, wait, was that him? I messed up. My bad. I looked at the wrong guy. He had a 72.2% in 40 touchdowns. So my bad.
So he's,
giving him a little shade earlier, but
yeah. A lot of people. Marvin Harrison was in there, quarterback down in Alabama. So you had some good, some tough people. But Jaden Daniels, I'm sorry, did win the Heisman Trophy in 2023.
Congrats.
Also, Michael, the Pittsburgh Penguins. They drop one on Friday night, 3-1 to the Panthers. They still can't get this power play together.
That players only meeting, baby. Sure changed.
They had a players only meeting, closed behind closed doors. So we'll see if that made any differences.
In the power play, it is not the head coach's fault, guys. It's the players' fault.
Nothing is ever the head coach's fault.
Nothing is ever Mike Sullivan's fault. Everything is Mike Tomlin's fault.
That's right.
It just cracks me up.
Penguins drop to 11-12-3. Panthers move up to 16-8-2. Riley Smith put up the only goal for the Penguins in that game. Next game is tomorrow. They will host the Coyotes at 7 p.m. Major League Baseball. Ohtani signs with the Dodgers for $700 million over 10
Hell
years.
Yeah, baby.
This is the biggest contract in North American sports history. Ohtani, Dodger, 10 years, $700 million, fellas.
I love it. I love like the whole thing because people were freaking out that he wasn't making it into a big production. Then he signs this contract, and then those same people who are complaining he didn't make it into a big production are complaining about how much money he made.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And, he's only taking 35 mil home a year. I mean, that poor guy.
Well, I'm sure.
I
don't know how it breaks down, but after taxes and taxes,
it's 35 mil after taxes. Yeah, someone broke it down. I'm sure he's fine.
I think Yao Ming is broke now. I think that the people over in his native land of China, they pretty much taxed all of his money. Last I heard, Yao Ming was poor.
Poor Yao.
LA Lakers, guys. This one here is something that is rubbing some people the wrong way. However, the LA Lakers win the first ever in-season tournament in the NBA. And LeBron James wins the MVP. So I don't know. Maybe this is something else they're going to throw at us and tell us why LeBron is so much better than Jordan is because he won an in-season tournament.
And the all-time scorer, baby.
That's right, baby. Nobody scored more in season tournament than LeBron James ever in history.
And in the overall, baby.
So there you go.
I hate that in-season tournament, but I'm glad my Lakers won.
Anyway, Mike, why don't you go tell everybody about the let's talk about something we want to hear. Tell us about the website.
The 2dumyinzers.com, the number 2 DUMYINZRS.com. Head on over there. All of our social links are over there. Links to Spotify is over there as well. Merch stores there and the blog. I don't know what this week's blog is going to be, but it will be up at some point.
Well, there's nothing to talk about in sports this week.
I got something.
What you got, Derp?
18 years ago today, the bus ran over Brian Urlacher.
Yes. I love it.
18 years ago today. Wow.
Yeah. In the snow, too. He fucking plowed his ass.
Makes you seem old, Mike.
Fuck you.
So I guess I do want to say you know what? I'll get to that in a second. Let's do our trivia. Let's knock that out. And we'll start getting ready to wrap it up, guys. This is an Indianapolis Colts trivia because this is who the Steelers play next. They play the Colts on Saturday, and a huge game for the Steelers. But guys, today is going to be an Indianapolis Colts trivia question. You guys ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Which Colts quarterback holds the franchise record for most passing yards in a single season? Is the question of the day, guys. Think this over.
Is this a trick question?
If you need any choices, I'll certainly give them to you. But think it over, guys. I'm looking for which Colts quarterback holds the franchise record for most passing yards in a single season. We are live, everybody, 5 days a week from Monday to Friday right here. And if you'd rather listen to this show or maybe don't have an opportunity to watch it, we upload the show that we do live every single day. We upload it over on the Spotify at 8 o'clock p.m. and you can listen to the show. Maybe you're in the car, maybe you're at the gym. You could always go check it out at Spotify after 8 o'clock p.m. every day for the brand new show. Go check it out.
Oh yeah.
Question of the day is this, guys. This is an Indianapolis Colts question trivia because this is who the Steelers play next. The question is, guys, which Colts quarterback holds the franchise record for most passing yards in a single season? Do either one of you guys need choices or you just want to take a stab at it?
I'm going to take a shot in the dark. How about you, Derpy?
I'm going to wing it.
All right. So, Mike, I'm going to start with you. Which Colts quarterback which Colts quarterback holds the franchise record for most passing yards in a season? Derpy, let me start with you. Derpy, who do you think it is?
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning. Is this your final answer?
Yes.
All right. Let me lock you in on Mr. Manning. Mike, I'm going to come over to you. Which Colts quarterback holds the franchise record for most passing yards in a single season? Derpy says Peyton Manning.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with Derpy on this one. Peyton Manning.
All right, let me lock you into place. Brian Pasquale on the board chose Drew Bledsoe, which I wish he would have chose Curtis Martin again. I don't know if you guys caught the other week. He pulled one over on us. There was the question about Patriot quarterbacks, and his answer was Curtis Martin.
Because every question I had was Drew Bledsoe.
That's right. So he's taking Drew Bledsoe once again on the board.
I like it.
I'll lock Brian in. Your choices were this for this question. A would have been Peyton Manning. B would have been Johnny Unitas. C would have been Andrew Luck. D would have been Burt Jones. So here is the question of the day, guys. Which Colts quarterback holds the franchise record for most passing yards in a season? The guy said Peyton on the board. Brian says Drew. The answer, of course, is Andrew Luck. Guys,
I forgot about Luck.
Has had
That is surprising.
By passing by a Colts quarterback in a season.
Wow.
It was a trick question, Derpy. But yes, Andrew Luck is the answer. So there you go, fellas.
Too bad he got hurt.
I do want to say thanks to everybody checking us out. We appreciate each and every one of you. We couldn't be able to do it without you. Thank you so much. I do want to give a shout out to Ralph. Ralph was on the board earlier. I don't know if he's still with us, but he did mention our show on one of his shows over the weekend. So do check Ralph out. Ralph is the head over at RW Media, and he will be starting 2 hours on January 2nd at WBVP, Beaver County Radio, his show Sports Corner with Ralph Williams. Do check that out. It starts again on January 2nd, 2-hour shows. Him and Smoke and Jim Fraser cover everything, all things sports. Great stuff. Go check him out. Mike, anything before we get ready to take off?
I got nothing. Just remember, Steeler fans, if we get rid of Tomlin, I'm not saying we shouldn't. I'm not saying we should keep him, but if we do, it will get worse before it gets better.
I agree. Derpy, what do you got before we take off, my man?
4-game stretch. Steeler Nation, let's get behind our Steelers.
All right, let's give another one of them stretches like we did against Brian Urlacher and the Bears when we needed those wins. If we could do it again, hey, that'd be great. But a lot is still remains to be determined.
Yep.
I do want to say. Oh, wait a minute. I'm gonna let Mr. Sharp. Mr. Sharp again is on the line, and he wants to finish off today's show. So I will certainly let him. Shannon, take it away and send us into tomorrow. In the words of Mr. Sharp,